All right, it looks like we are live. Welcome and good morning, good afternoon, good day, wherever you are, whatever time it is. Welcome to Hemp Your Health. This is a show about health, healing, and prevention. We bring on experts that share their wisdom, intelligence, and experience for the betterment of humans, animals, plants, and the planet. And today's guest, Glenn Holland, is going to go deep into the plant kingdom and how does your garden grow? Glenn Holland has had a robust career as an engineer, entrepreneur, and professional at John Deere. After his journey with stage three journey, in and out of stage three lung cancer, he became the founder of the Human Connection and an innovator and inventor of a product that we're going to go deep into detail around called the plant vibration trainer and or the Ganja Grid. We are, as he will explain, we're in model one. And this plant, this Ganja Grid, is going to revolutionize a lot about how plants grow and some sustainability that we'll touch on. Glenn, it is such a pleasure. Would you do us the honor of also setting the intention of the show?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on, Christy. Hi, everybody. Seed to System, thanks for having me on. This is just such an honor to be able to be in this type of a platform. So the intention of this specific episode is to talk about vibration and what it means to you as a person, but also your world around you. And as we go through some of the items that I'll be talking about, I want you to think about how the beginning stages of the planet Earth came about. And a lot of that was through the plant kingdom, right? Plant kingdom came first before humans. And therefore, the plants have been around on this planet a heck of a lot longer than we have. So we should still be able to learn from them and to help them help us sustain our future. So, Christy, that's pretty much what I'm going to be talking about during this episode.
I love this, and I love that that you mentioned that we still. Whoa, hold on. I just got our Facebook on live, so I can see your comments. Good morning. So we do, and Glenn is teaching me and all of us that we do have so much to learn about the plants. Let's dig into a little bit about you. You had a professional career as an engineer and with large farming equipment at John Deere. What was the event, or was there an event that reconnected you with cannabis?
Yeah, great question, Christy. Working for John Deere and working in a agricultural company, you learn about a lot about the land and how to farm the land and how to take care of the land and so forth. But specifically, what happened for me is in February of 2018. I woke up one morning and it was a typical cold winter morning, which every winter I would have sinus infections kind of things happening. And this one particular morning, I felt that something was inside of my lungs wanting to get out. Every breath that I took, like when you wheeze a little bit from having some of that mucus inside of your lungs, when I would take a breath that one morning, it was February 28th, I felt something inside that I felt in the past. And typically when I would, it would, you'd be able to actually expunge some sputum, right? Some sputum. And so that morning I felt it inside of my lungs, and just by breathing, I knew that it was going to come up fairly soon. And I didn't want to do it in the office, right? You don't want to be like in the office coughing out a lung, right? So I decided to try and make it come out that morning. And so that morning, I coughed as hard as I could, and up it came. It finally came out of me, and I spit it into the garbage can in our kitchen. For whatever reason, I decided to look at it. Just curiosity. And you're going to make me cry almost, because there it was, just about that long of a piece of bloody spit, came out of my lungs, and so that was the classic. When you spit up blood, how long do you have to live? Like, that's what you always see in movies and things like that. When somebody's about to die and they're coughing up blood, that's what happens. You die. So immediately, Christy, that's what sent me down a greater path towards, I want to say, enlightenment, and understanding that it's not all about me. I used to think 75% me, 25% everybody else, but spitting up that blood and causing me to go down a path where um, compassion and sympathy came back into it, I now have turned into 51% me and 49% everybody else.
That's beautiful, especially when we get into how you channel and help the plants, and how they help us. That's beautiful. So you changed your lifestyle, and when did you reconnect with cannabis during this journey and this undoing and redoing of you?
Yeah, great question again. Thanks, Christy, for the segue. um, so so I'm a typical person that was born in 1970 and around the 80s. You would try yourself out with certain drugs and so forth. And I had tried myself with cannabis in the past, um, and it wasn't really a part of my life until 2016, which is before I had the episode with the coughing up of the blood. But I saw that there was a revival for hemp. The farm bill was passed and all these things, and I'm working for John Deere, and I'm thinking, I wonder if we have something that's going on from the crop side from them. So I had started in 2016 to expand my LinkedIn network, which is now up to about 24,000, looking for ways that I could potentially get my foot in the door with John Deere, but with the hemp industry. And it kind of fizzled out for a bit there. But when I coughed up the blood and then got diagnosed with stage 3 lung cancer, um, people saw my journey on LinkedIn, and one of them reached out to me. Tiffany Burt was her name, and she wanted to help me with this journey of using typical medicine, the chemotherapy, the immunotherapy, the surgery, and she did offer me FICO, which is full extract cannabis oil, as part of my treatment. And so she is an angel that gives it to multiple medical patients around the United States. Again, she connected with my story that I was putting out there on LinkedIn, and we made a connection. And so she started to supply me with full extract cannabis oil, which I took for a few months. That helped with the pain after surgery. It helped with the appetite suppression after, during the chemotherapy side of it. I was able to flush my opioids down the toilet because of it. So it was a great win for me, Christy. Thanks for asking. That's how it came back into it. Yep.
Well, I love that. I mean, it's not even a story, it's a testimonial to that your body is genetically designed for this, and you you healed with it, which is so powerful. Then you founded a company called The Human Connection, and I'm doing this because it's spelled differently. No C, no T, an X. What does the Human Connection stand for?
Right. So of course it is a play on words, and those of you who know will know. You'll get that part of it. But because every person has an endocannabinoid system, and there are certain plants out there that have an endocannabinoid system that work with the receptors in your body, I felt that the human connection was a great way for me to start a business that led me into the plant vibration trainer that you talked about, Christy. So in December of 2018, I have what I call the epiphany. I had an epiphany. Chemotherapy accumulates in your body, and that December was the last treatment of chemotherapy in my treatment regime. And we took a trip to Washington, D.C. with my family. I was at an exhibit called Pulse, Pulse, and it was an interactive exhibit where you walked up to a screen and you put your hand onto a screen, and the sensors in the screen picked up the pulse of your heart and then transposed them into water or onto a screen. So you would then be able to see your heartbeat visually, not just a cardiograph that you see, in the doctor's office, but actually see things move from your heartbeat. And going back to what you said earlier, Christy, the heart is one of the biggest pieces that gives out this electro field. It really connected with me, and the epiphany was, I wonder if I could grow my medicine with vibration from my heartbeat for an actual customized experience and medicine treatment is basically where the human connection kind of came about. So one other little piece from that, I reached out for some market research on my 20-something thousand LinkedIn followers and asked them, hey, do you have a personal connection with your plants? And I knew the answer, but I wanted to get them thinking. I wanted to get the ball rolling, right? And so I, unequivocally had people come back saying, yes, we do. We love our plants. We tend to them like they're our family. They're like our baby. If you're an engineer, it's like something you designed. So that gave me the basis to continue to research ways for me to vibrate plants and then inject my heart into those plants.
This is like the ultimate biofeedback. You're putting your life energy into the plants, and then the plants give that life force back to you. Would this be a good time for me to read my little thing on the electromagnetic field? All right.
Sure.
The reason I'm going to read this for all of us is to really emphasize what Glenn is doing and how big and important this is, and ultimately that you can do this too for your plants, and we'll get into this. The heart is the most powerful generator of electromagnetic energy in the human body, producing the largest rhythmic electromagnetic field of any of the body's organs. The heart's electromagnetic field is about 60 times greater than the amplitude and electrical activity generated by the brain. We think the brain runs the body. Guess what? The brain is just an organ. We don't even know where the mind is. The heart's energy field is way, I can't even see it with my screen. It's way out here. It's big. And so when like Glenn is channeling his heartbeat into these plants, this is the most powerful electromagnetic energy you can put into a plant. All right, Glenn, take it from there.
Yeah, thanks, Christy. So just a little bit of history about the mechanostimulation of plants. Charles Darwin, back in the 1700s, I believe that's when he was around. Sorry, I don't know the exact time, but I believe that's when it was. Yes, the first part of his life was traveling around the planet and talking about animals and mammals and the plant or animal kingdom. The second half of his life, along with his son, was to research about plants. And one of the pieces that he always noticed was that the root structure of a plant is able to be manipulated depending on its environment. As an example, if there's running water nearby, but there is no moisture from that running water, how does the plant's roots be able to grow towards it? It's vibration, okay? Vibration is all around us, okay? So then in 1973, Mordecai Jaffe, shortly after the Secret Life of Plants book was out, he coined the term thigmomorphogenesis, which is a Greek word that basically is in three pieces. Thigmo meaning touch, morpho meaning change, and genesis, which is create. So this word came about in the 70s, and there are multiple different research studies that are out there that most of them use airborne sound for the generator of vibration to alter plant growth. And so during my research, I found basically that there are devices out there called vibration speakers that mechanically can vibrate surfaces. And that's where I put the two technologies together and came up with a device that actually can touch the plant, not by airborne vibration, but by mechanical touch. And
Wow.
so with those two pieces and the technology that we have now with biometrics and cell phone technology and fitness trackers and all of these other types of biometric feedback devices that we have for the person, I was able to record my heartbeat and then start to test this by vibrating plants with it in a controlled A versus B environment, Christy. Yep.
So what kind of results are you seeing from your heartbeat going directly vibrating into the cellular structure and the root structure of these plants?
Okay, so besides the spiritual side, which is a whole spiritual side to this as well, right? Because you spiritually feel more connected to your plants if you're feeding it what you're giving out, right? Which you
Yeah.
talked a little bit about. But as far as a scientific experiment, the evolution of my testing was first visual, A versus B, one with heartbeat, one without. There was a visual difference, and that visual difference was the vibrated plants were shorter, had smaller internode spacing, and were fatter. Okay, so from a visual aspect, that's what I saw. And full disclosure here, I used cannabis just because
I was just going to ask.
yeah,
Yes.
I used cannabis because that's where the epiphany came from, and because it helped me during my transformation from lung cancer survivor to lung cancer champion, right? And so uh, that's basically I used cannabis, and I visually saw a difference, which told me to keep going. And so the next test I did, I changed the design a little bit. Of course, you're always tweaking designs. And then I again visually saw a difference, but then I decided to take it to the next level and actually get it lab tested. And being in North Carolina, we have a lot of hemp growers, so there's a lot of laboratories that test for THC content. So I used a Bayox strain, and again tested side by side. And at the end of that test, I saw about a 15% increase in CBD and other cannabinoid structures increase of between from vibration to non-vibration.
Wow.
So yeah, so that was test number two. Then real quickly, test number three. Test number two was from seed stock. So I grew them from seeds, from germination with my heartbeat straight through. But I know that, in order to have apples to apples, you need to have a clone from the same mother. So I took I took the best looking clone and cloned pieces of her, and then grew my third harvest, which came back with a 10% increase in cannabinoid content. So those are the two biggest pieces that I saw. The other little piece that I noticed as well, Christy, was that it appeared to me that the maturity of the vibrated plant the time frame was less. So it appeared to me that it matured quicker with vibration than without it. So those were the biggest pieces that I saw.
Do you think that's because your life force is literally in that plant?
Maybe as I said, there are many research studies on different types of plants. Arapavidosis is one of them, the scientific plant. There are tons of studies out there on different types of plants and different types of sound profiles that help them grow, but just none on cannabis. So I can't tell you that's what it was. I want to feel that way, and I want to believe that. Can you put your finger on it? No, you can't, right? But we know love is a thing. We
Well,
know that their feelings are things. You can't point at something and say it's there, but it's there,
well.
right? So that's the way I feel. Yeah.
I was reading a little bit more about from Bruce Lipton and sort of the frequency and vibration that human cells have and comparing human cells and plant cells. And they all need frequencies because that's how plants feed, is through the photosynthesis. So if you make their how they generate energy healthier, more vibrant, more alive, more connected, it seems like it would absolutely create a stronger genetic too. And you were explaining that the genetics, the seeds actually become stronger. The genetics in themselves become stronger. The lifeline.
Great segue again, Christy. You're nailing this. So perfect. It's perfect. So the latest study that I've been involved with was done by the main person, Ratish Ghosh is his name, from Lund University in Sweden. He and I connected on LinkedIn. He has a lot of papers on thigmomorphogenesis, but he just came out with another one called mechanostimulation and how can it help with sustainable agriculture. And he talks about thigmopriming. So if you want to think about the first half of that word, thigmo, being touch, and the second half being priming, well, we know what priming is. Priming is you're preparing something to make a difference or to be better in the future. So what his research has shown is that if you are able to mechanically stimulate a plant, that it will remember it and that it will be healthier the next generation. So if you're able to create a shorter, fatter plant, if it's able to procreate and have seeds from it, then those seeds will then have that trait already built into it as it moves to the next generation.
God, that's
So
so cool. And humans are very much the same way. We remember traumas and we remember health and we remember vitality and we remember good vibrations. This is what I was trying to spit out just a second ago, is the no, we know what placebo is from positive thoughts, but we also know what nocebo is. And nocebo is when you put your negative energy into something and it treats your body just like chemotherapy. It's very destructive. And so we are, we talk a lot about this on the show, that we are like plants. Our cells divide a little bit differently, but nonetheless, they're dividing and they need to be at the most optimal frequency for plants and for humans, because in humans, we're creating a new body every 8 months. And if that frequency isn't optimal, those cells are going to come in at a lower frequency. And that's the beginning of chronic disease in humans. And that's also how we destroy our plant kingdom, is by creating toxicities and putting them in lower frequency and vibrational environments. I am sure everyone is your wife's name Sandra?
yes, that's correct.
She is listening. Hello, Sandra. Thank you for sharing, Glenn. I am so excited to have him on the show. Hi, Will. Glenn, so I want to talk real quick about the plastic, and then maybe we can go into a demonstration of your of the Ganja Grid. So we talk a lot about how sustainable and incredible the hemp industry is at times. It is not. And can you explain a little bit how this can reduce some of the plastic for our cannabis growers out there?
Absolutely. Yeah. So when it comes to a commercial aspect of cannabis growth, there is a canopy management system that they use to keep the plants at a certain height from their either artificial light or their tops of their greenhouses. And because they want to be able to have that even canopy so that all parts of the plants can get the same amount of light. And how they do that now is they use agricultural plastic netting or nylon netting. So if ever you're in a commercial grow where you see hemp or cannabis, any type of cannabis, you will see a plastic net that is draped over the top of these plants. And when it comes to harvest time, when the trichomes are mature enough and they've turned their amber color to have the most CBD or THC, whatever they're going for, they will hire people to come in and they will remove the plastic netting, or they'll cut the plant underneath it and then cut around the plastic netting. And what happens with that plastic netting, Christy?
It ends up on our beaches.
There you go. So she was in Cozumel recently and saw a lot of plastic, and so that's what a lot of this happens, right? So every harvest, when they're done with their harvest, which some facilities harvest multiple times during a year, they'll take this plastic netting off, they'll cut it, they'll throw it out basically. And basically that does two things. Number one, when you're taking it off of the plant, you are actually causing damage to your trichomes, your flowers, your bulbous heads. So if you're looking for the most pristine part of the plant, which is your bulbous heads for keef and so forth, you're damaging that as you're removing this plastic netting. And then, as I said, after they've actually removed it and hung their plants on a drying rack, they will typically throw this plastic netting out because they're not going to clean it. So our device that I designed is made out of aluminum, which is one of the most sustainable metals on the planet. So if it does get crushed or something happens to it and winds up back in the earth, it's not a big deal. And you can use it over and over again. So your return on investment may take a little bit of time harvest wise to get to there, but there's so many other benefits that you're giving the planet by not using that agricultural plastic netting, which by the way accounts for, at least in 2010, accounts for 2% of the world's plastic generation is agricultural netting. Now that may not sound like a lot, but if you think about the planet and how much agriculture is on it, it's a lot.
Yeah, that's incredible. I love that. I love anytime we can bring true sustainability and function into this industry because it's growing and we're just helping the planet because Lord knows that's where the plants grow, right? Do you want, I'm gonna, I have a comment here. Let me see if I can spit this one out. It's from Will. Just a comment, Glenn's talk on plant vibrations reminds me of some indigenous communities and shamanisms from a variety of cultures who have claimed to be able to speak. There's more. Speak. Oh, geez. Speak with plants, having conversations about what they need and what medicinal applications they may have. It's really cool to see this starting to be actually confirmed with scientific evidence. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, thanks for Will. And let me just finish a little comment there. So Will and the rest of the people that are out there are companies out there that are reading electrical signals off of plants. And there's some retail that are out there, but there's also some universities like NC State University, which is right down the street from us. They have a program going on called Plant Talk. And if you can grab electrical signals from plants that are healthy and feed that back to them, that's a great piece of regenerative energy that you're feeding off of them. And so one other little piece from NC State is we are actually working with them. We have a letter of intent with them to put our product into their facility and start them to gather some research data on other plant species, not just hemp, because this is a wide cast this thing can go to, Christy.
Yes, because we were talking about using this for house plants, seedlings, germination, herbs, flowering plants, food plants. This isn't, this is a plant. This is a grid that you're going to show, but it can be used for any kind of plant.
Basically anything. The caveat to that is I'm still working on some designs for other application like row crop application. As of right now, the surface transducer that we utilize is not waterproof. And so from a field aspect, there's still some work to be done there. But I want you to think about the indoor plant industry and how we have controlled environment application, CEA, and we're trying our best to mimic outdoor because plants have grown outdoors for millions of years and they have perfected it. So when we bring things inside and we try to mimic those with either an oscillating fan or other ways, there's one major minus that's missing from that, and that's the vibration that Earth gives off, right? We know that seismic activity gives off vibration. Plants don't feel that inside as much as they would if they were outside. So while an oscillating fan will cause some vibration to happen in the upper canopy of your plants, you're not hitting your substrate. Whereas if you're actually touching the plant itself, it's sending those vibrations down through the plant into the substrate. So you're actually mimicking more outdoors than you really think. So.
Oh, This just thought, like, what if you were measuring, you're recording your heartbeat? What if you were grounding bare feet on the ground, measuring your heartbeat? I wonder if it would be different than if you have shoes on inside, because then you're getting the electromagnetic frequencies from the earth too, through
Yeah,
your body into the plant.
yeah, great question and great comment, Christy. As we continue to move towards identifying certain sound profiles that will help for plant health and for IPM, integrated pest management. Just as an example, if there's certain type of pest like a spider mite that stops mating at a certain frequency, the applications of this thing are just enormous. But what I was kind of coming back to is that if we can overlay the normal seismic tectonic information that the earth gives us with customized sound profiling on top of that, then you're continuously giving your plants what the earth gives it outside, but then you can dial in certain ailments, that could then cause the plant to grow better with improved health.
God, I
So
love it.
yeah.
And people can use frequencies the exact same way, because all organs, glands, skin, nerves all have a specific frequency. And again, when that frequency, just like in plants, dips, dies down, isn't at the right voltage, we have compromised health, just like we do in the plants, in the in unstructured environments. I know we could keep going. Would you mind? I could keep going. I am so fascinated by this. Would you show us what the Ganja Grid looks like, and maybe a little bit about how it works?
Absolutely. Let me make sure I got this set up right. Just bear with me a second.
Where are you in North Carolina?
I am in Cary, North Carolina, which is outside of Raleigh. So we're just outside of Raleigh, North Carolina.
Oh, this is beautiful.
Yeah. So just to give everybody a sense of scale here, this big wooden structure that I'm standing in the middle of is the actual device that I make these grids on, these aluminum grids. These aluminum grids are not welded, they are woven together. So I like to think of this fixture as a means for me to weave people's lives together with their plants. Okay, just keep that in mind. So I've designed this loom to weave these grids together, and they come in multiple different sizes. And so as an example, this one in front of me here is a container model. So it's a 1 foot by 1 foot size. And it also has extenders that send the vibration out the extenders and can touch plants like I'm showing here or here. And then in the middle of it, if you want you to think yourself of like a spider web, like spiders and biomimicry, spiders have vibration down pat, don't they? They've been doing it for millions of years, right? So the vibration device is in the center of the grid and cascades the vibrations out to the corners. So in this particular sense, I have a small model, which I can feel my heartbeat. You guys can't hear it, but I'll show you in a minute. I have my heartbeat pumping through this right now. So with my finger on it, I can feel it, ba-bump, ba-bump, which is my heartbeat. And so I want you to think about if we get to the point that we know that it helps with plants grow stronger, that if you have your Fitbit or your fitness watch, and we can prove that increasing your heartbeat or increasing your beats per minute can even increase plant health even more, then what if we could tap into your fitness tracker so that a person not only is working out to make himself feel better, but he knows that he's making his plants feel better too. So another little benefit there. So this is the 1x1 that is container driven. This is what I call the chandelier model, which is hung from a rope ratchet or so forth. And as you can see here, I've got some extenders on that as well to my plant, which again, you can feel the vibration going to it. But then also all the little squares that I've designed, I tried my best to come as close to a typical size that people use containers with. So it's about a 4-inch, a little bit less than a 4-inch, because I want to be able to, I'll show you in the back one here. Lots of people use solo cups for growing. it fits right into the grid and sits right down into it. Same with your typical garden containers that you would get. Basically sits right into it, and you're sending vibrations out to it. Now, the other piece to this, Christy, is that vibration in germinating also does some good stuff, right? So we've got some containers here with water in it that have hemp seeds in it that as they're vibrating, they are becoming activated faster than if it was just sitting there normally. So the results that I've seen from germinating seeds, and this is proven, sonication helps with seeds, that you can actually have a higher germination rate in shorter time, right? So another little piece there. In the back, I've got Jiffy pellets you can put them on top as well. So yeah, the benefits of this thing are enormous. Now, there's one other piece, and I know this kind of looks like QVC, so sorry about that.
Love it.
But
way better.
Yeah, okay, good. After you're done with, we talked a little bit about plastic netting over commercial applications. Well, it's the same thing in a smaller person's tent or closet, wherever they grow. When it comes to cannabis, at least, they need to cut underneath the plant themselves and then hang them upside down. Well, the Ganja Grid also acts as your drying rack.
I love that.
So when you're done, if you use this as a canopy management system and you're done and you cut underneath, you take the whole grid out, you turn it over, and you put it in your drying room. So you're not damaging your flowers, you're not damaging your bulbous heads to get keef. So after they dry for a little bit, you give this thing a flick, and your keef, the really primo stuff that has the most cannabinoids in it, you give it a flick, it drops to the ground or whatever container you want to have. So that's another little bonus there too, Christy.
That is such a big bonus, because that's a lot of money that people are just blowing into the air. Goodbye forever. No return on investment there.
Agreed. And so just one final piece, and then I'll move back over to our seat. There are two different models of surface resonators, they're called. And one model only has vibration. Now you can hear it a little bit because vibration is sound born as well. So the smaller model only does vibration, but you can hear it. But then the larger model, which is a 36 watt, it has a vibration speaker or vibration transmitter underneath the bottom, but it also has external speakers so you can actually hear it. And you can talk to your plants with it. I could answer the phone and I could talk to my plants with that device right there.
Oh my gosh. So let's say you're on vacation. You can call, like, I just want to make sure I'm getting this. You can call your plants up and talk to them.
Yeah, so right now we're still working on some of the Wi-Fi technology of this device. So right now you wouldn't be able to do that unless you had somebody there to answer the phone and it connect to it Bluetooth, because right now these surface transducers are only Bluetooth, or they are line-in capabilities. So the little aux cord that you use for your other type of earphones and headphones and so forth. So we're almost there.
Wow. Well, so far what you have is absolutely mind-blowing, heart-expanding, revolutionary. And the bottom line is you're creating better plants, you're creating that human connection. And I'm really excited to see all the stages that the Ganja Grid and the plant trainer goes through, because I'm imagining, you know how good sprouts are when you were talking about germinating, how good sprouts are for our bodies. What if you were germinating your sprouts, your broccoli sprouts, your alfalfa sprouts, your hemp seed sprouts, with your own heartbeat, and then eating them, just the sprouts? God.
Let me tell you something, Chrissy. When I partake in the medicine that I've created, which, because I have lung cancer, and yes, I did have lung cancer, sorry, no longer, but because I did have lung cancer, and because I was a smoker in the past, I don't like putting things in my lungs, right? And so there's smokable flower for hemp, and then there's the THC-rich cannabis, everything. So right now, I make my own butter, of course, right? I infuse my own butter with plants that were grown with my heartbeat. I have seeds that I created from a male that was vibrated with my heartbeat and a female that was vibrated with my heartbeat, and now I've got their babies. So I'm not saying that there's something concrete that makes me feel different, but it sure makes me feel good to know that I'm consuming medicine to help me get better that was grown with my customized heartbeat in it. Does that make sense?
Does it make you more accountable when you know that you're consciously putting that vibration into your plants? Like, let's say you're just having a bad day, something happened, you need to get your energy up. Does it make you like, all right, I'm going to tune in, and now I am definitely infusing myself with love, harmony, gratefulness? Because you don't go in like with a bad attitude. You have to go in thinking you are the life force for this. You are putting.
Yeah, absolutely. And throughout the day, like when I was still working in corporate Deer and I'm, 9 to 5 there, I'm always got this on my mind, And I also know that if I have a bad day, I can come home and I could take off my heartbeat and put on Willie Nelson or put on something else, and I could put on any song that I wanted to, or even 532 hertz, right? Isn't that a famous hertz, right? Or Schumann's resonance, or
Yes.
white noise. White noise is another one. So there's you can customize this to anything that you're feeling. Your plants can feel with you. It's just
Oh,
it's unreal.
I think that you are taking the idea of medicinal plant medicine to another level. And the connection, the human connection, we need to be connected to our food, to our plants, to our planet, to our animals, to ourselves. And I can't think of a better way to do it than with our own heartbeat. And to know that that field is big, and we can change that field with our thoughts and our perceptions, and how much we feel love and gratefulness and harmony and resonance and coherence. It's so powerful. I hope to goodness gracious we can have you on again, because personally, I feel like we have so much to learn about plants. Plants can teach us, we can learn from them. You are a wealth of information. I am so grateful that your journey has taken you to this place in this direction. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to benefit. The planet's going to benefit from this on many levels. If people want to get a hold of you, how do they get a hold of you?
Okay, so the best way is with via the website or email, right? So www.gangagrid.com, real easy. And then of course the email, which you know me already, right? It's vibe, VIBE at gangagrid.com. That's the email. So one other little piece to how you can see us, Christy. This pandemic has been a little bit difficult for us in our business in the sense that this is new technology. Everybody wants to think it's snake oil or anybody can do it, and so there has been no in-person trade shows for the last year where somebody can walk up to this thing and put their hand on it and actually say, "Oh man, this does really vibrate." So there, we're starting to open up the country a little bit. So April 17th and 18th in Oklahoma City, there is the. I don't mean to plug. Can I plug somebody here, or is that
Absolutely, go ahead.
okay? All right, okay. There's a festival there called Chronic Palooza in Oklahoma City, and Oklahoma is a big medical state now that's just starting to really blossom. And so we're going to have a booth there next to Be Elevated Oklahoma inside on April 17th and 18th, Chronic Palooza for the 420 celebrations. We will be there. We'll be showing this thing off. And so we really hope that people can put their hands on it and understand the power that they hold within themselves that can help better themselves and better the planet.
Oh, I love that. Check out Product Palooza. Get your bodies there if you can. And go say hi to Glenn. Thank him for this invention, because we're all going to benefit from healthier plants and a healthier planet and a healthier body, because we are vibration. And we are energy, and so is this planet, and so are our plants. Glenn, this has been such a joy, and I feel your energy all the way from across the country. You have amazing energy. Your heart energy is huge, and I am so, so grateful. Thank you for joining us. Real quick, everyone, I think that we are changing the platform to YouTube. Just a heads up, and we'll give everyone a good heads up, but that's going to be happening in the near future for obvious reasons. So stay in touch with us at Hemp Your Health. And for now, big blessings. Remember, your field is gigantic. Put the love out there and grow this planet to be a better place. Thank you, Glenn. See you
Thanks,
all
Christy.
next week. Check out Ganja Grid and get your bodies to Oklahoma so you can see him in person and feel the grid. Bye for now.
Bye. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank